Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Gift of Giving. My name is Stephen Murray, and I'm the host of the program. And for those tuning in for the first time, this program features nonprofits, 501c3s, and foundations based right here in the state of Nevada. If you're tuned in from out of state, I hope you will stay tuned and listen because our guest this week has something that could benefit anybody across the United States of America. We're very pleased to welcome this week Beth Flory. She's the CEO of Safe House, and this organization is attempting to stomp out domestic violence in our community. So welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Stephen.
You're very welcome. First, can you give us a brief overview of the organization and its mission, please?
So Safe House is a comprehensive domestic violence agency. We're located in Henderson, Nevada. We provide a number of services to victims of domestic violence and their children. That includes a 24-hour crisis hotline. We have a safe shelter that's in a secret location. We also provide counseling, advocacy, as well as outreach and education.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what made you join this organization?
So I am originally from Michigan, and when I moved to Las Vegas, oh my goodness, almost 17 years ago, I think it is now, I was very, very interested in working in either domestic violence or sexual assault. I am a survivor of an attempted sexual assault. Luckily, I escaped that situation. And so I was really interested in violence against women in particular. And it was so long ago, I actually found the advertisement in the newspaper, the paper newspaper, not on Craigslist or something like that. And I started working in the shelter, and I have since moved my way up, and now I am in charge of yours. Yep, I'm the head honcho.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
How long have you been CEO, just a matter of it?
So I became CEO in 2021. So I just had my 4-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So now domestic violence and exploitation is discussed much more openly now than it used to be. So would you say the numbers are increasing here in the state of Nevada, and also for that, also in the United States for that matter? Are they increasing or decreasing?
Well, the data says before, so when I first started at Safe House, it said 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men would experience domestic violence in their lifetime. I just recently saw an updated statistic that said 1 in 2 women, so that's half, and 1 in 5 men. So that shows an increase. But like you said, I think it's mainly because people are more likely to talk about it. They're more willing to get help and say, hey, I'm experiencing this problem in my household. I'm experiencing violence in my household, and it's not acceptable. So while we may see an increase in numbers, it may be because of that.
Well, for one time, certainly women, when they were raped, they would never
say anything.
Yes, they would never say anything, because it was always considered like they weren't the victim, and they are. So
well, in so many households, violence in the home, it was like a closed door issue. Yes. It was not something you talked about, and it was accepted in society. Yes. For mainly against women by the man. But now I think it's, we don't want violence in our home anymore. No. We want peaceful, calm existence.
Yes, happiness.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned the statistics for women and men, and that surprising number of men. Mm-hmm. Do you get much in the way of children, teenagers or younger?
So teen dating violence is definitely a problem. You're young, you're new in a relationship, you don't really know how the dynamics of the relationship should be. And there are a lot of factors these days that even when I was young, I didn't have to experience, like texting, for example. Yes. Well, now we have young people who they're texting and they're asking the teenager what they're doing all day long, right? Yes. They're texting them constantly all day long, and a teenager may have trouble knowing if that's right or wrong. And so we are seeing teen dating violence issues. This starts when, somebody is younger. And so we do have some programs where we're going out into some of the local charter schools and providing education on this very topic.
Great.
So now in our actual agency, we do serve children, but it is with their parent when they come into the shelter or for counseling.
And if children do come in by themselves, do you refer them to Child Protective Services or?
So we may try to work with some of our other local programs. The Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth is an example of, we did have a young person who came into our office very unexpectedly. And so we were able to connect with them and then they took it from there, which is helpful.
Great.
So we love to work together in Las Vegas with our
Network and
nonprofits.
partner, yeah. And there's a lot of that going on, and as it should be, because you're all dealing with different aspects of the same issue.
Exactly.
Now, your website says you covered Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, and beyond. Where does the beyond extend to? Does it go out like to Mesquite or?
Yeah, so we will assist anybody from the state of Nevada.
Okay.
So a lot of times when somebody's in a very dangerous domestic violence situation, particularly with stalking, it may be better for the person to completely move. So there was one instance I can think of several years ago where we helped a woman move from Reno. So her situation was very dangerous. Her abuser was stalking her. And so we worked with the shelter up there and actually flew her down to our shelter so that she could build a new life down here in Las Vegas, safely away from her partner.
But there are similar organizations, yours up in Reno and Carson City in northern Nevada, that you can refer people to if they reach out to you.
Yes, definitely. Yes, Safe Embrace is one. Domestic Violence Resource Center. There's even some smaller agencies, around. Pahrump has No to Abuse, and we try to work with all of them through our coalition. So we're all members of the Nevada Coalition in Domestic and Sexual Violence, and that way we can coordinate and network and make sure we're providing cohesive services for Nevada.
Okay, great. Now, how many individuals does your shelter actually cover?
So we can have 62 individuals at any given time.
Oh,
yes.
great.
Yep. So typically women and children. So 62 beds that we have. And so in a year, we typically would serve anywhere between 400 and 500 people
Wow.
in the building. Yeah.
Wow. And now we're going to get into, you helped out with housing. We'll get into that in another section. Said it's mainly women and children. Do you have men in there as well, and do they have separate areas that they live in, or?
So we do serve all genders, and typically though with men, because of how our building is built, it's not, we have private rooms, which is awesome. I know some people, when they think of a shelter, they think of this giant room with cots or something like that.
Rows of beds.
Yeah, rows of beds. We do not have that. It's almost more like a dormitory.
Yes.
So it's like 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and we have 19 rooms. But having 2 genders in the building might be difficult. So, and we don't serve that many men because just not as many people call. So we have a relationship with one of the area suites that we're able to house men if they need it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Now, also one of the services, you provide meals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you cook the meals, or do the residents cook their own meals, or is there a communal dining room, set meal times? How does that work when it comes to service, providing meal service? So
in our shelter, we do have like a communal dining room and kitchen. We have a cook or a chef that works, full time every week. And so she prepares our lunches and our dinners. And she will also prepare meals for when she has a day off, right? She can't work every day. And at that point, we have staff that work in the shelter also that will help prepare those meals. They all have the training, through Nevada to provide food service. And then breakfast is kind of like a continental breakfast. Like, sure. Yeah, you got your cereal and your fruit and different things. And it's really important we have that cook because she will get information from all the different people who are staying in the shelter, the victims and their children. So if we have any kind of special diets, if somebody's gluten-free, allergic to peanuts, vegetarian, religious reasons maybe, then we're able to accommodate a lot of those needs. One that we had to accommodate recently is we had one of our victims' children had autism, and children with autism, sometimes they have like a sensory diet. They can get a sensory overload. So we really worked with the mom and tried to introduce foods into the child's diet, so it could be nourished well. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to take a brief sponsorship break. Please stay with us, folks. We're going to be right back.
Tariffs, pandemics, rising inflation. The Joshua Dowden team is ready when volatility happens. Markets fluctuate for reasons nobody can control. Don't let the headlines drive your financial plan. The Joshua Dowden team at Priority Wealth Partners has served Summerlin retirees for 3 decades. Our 5-tier risk management strategy matches our strategies with your goals, with plans designed for your assets to be there when you need them. Conveniently located at the heart of downtown Summerlin. Call Joshua Dowden today or visit DowdenFinancialServices.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to welcome back our guest this week, Beth Flory, CEO of Safe House. Thank you again for taking the time and spending with us and giving us details about Safe House. Now, you mentioned earlier these individuals are housed in an undisclosed location. Mm-hmm. Has anybody breached that? Anybody who's left your undisclosed location and gone back there, husbands or wives, and said, "Oh, this is where we stayed"? Mm-hmm. Has that ever happened where some of them would try to reach out because they found out where you are?
Yeah, so we've definitely had some abusers find out our location. It's pretty rare that it happens. One specific instance was technology. I mentioned earlier, yes, texting with teenagers can be a struggle with teen dating violence. Well, our technology we have today can also be very dangerous for yes, victims of domestic violence because, the Apple phones now, I think it's called like App 360 or something, where you can actually track somebody's location or GPS their location. So we have had that happen where abusers have actually used technology to locate their partner. And we've seen it both with tracking through a cell phone as well as putting a low jack on a vehicle, where they've actually, tracked the person through that tech. So we put a lot of things in place to try to mitigate that issue. Sure. So when victims first come into our shelter, we go through tech safety with them. We may have them turn off their cell phones, make sure there's no tracking on their cell phones, and just really kind of review what are some areas that, an abuser could find them. Now, in response to an abuser finding somebody there, we do have a lot of security measures at the physical building itself. It's locked from the outside. Now, anybody can come and go as they want. We don't lock people inside of our building by any means. So you can leave the building, you just can't get in without being buzzed in. And so we keep staff on duty 24/7. We have video cameras all over the building. We have security doors all around the building. And by not being able to Google it, then that does prevent a lot of issues. So I can't say we haven't had an abuser show up. We definitely have. But I would say since I've worked at Safe House since 2009, I would say maybe 5 or 6 times we've had an abuser. Yeah, it's not very often. It's not very often. And it's because we take a lot of those, try to avoid that risk.
Yes. You know what? That's an incredible number when you think of the number of people that have been through your doors, the number of people that are trying to find those people. That's an incredible security system that you have there. So, and nothing's ever perfect.
No, and nothing's ever perfect. And, we also take a lot of care when somebody calls our hotline. So, a lot of times abusers may call the hotline or maybe even have friends of theirs try to call our hotline to figure out where the person is at. And we have a response. We can't confirm or deny that person is here. If you want to file a missing persons report, you can file it with the police department.
Sure,
and then we have our client self-disclose that they're in the shelter to the police department, and then they go, okay, the person, we know where they are. sorry, we can't help you, basically.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, how long can people stay at Safe House?
So we don't have any particular length of stay at our emergency shelter. It's really dependent on each individual's needs. I would say the average stay is about 2 to 3 months, that typical stay. So
now, also on your website, it says you help them with housing and financial assistance. To what extent do you help them financially and also finding houses? Do you go with them and help them find apartments? Or
so we have a housing manager, and she has, the finger on the pulse, I guess, of, what's available in the community rental wise. She's also made relationships with a lot of different landlords of larger properties. And so she helps them budget, figure out what they can afford for rent, and then helps them find, a rental property that they then can apply for. Now, financial assistance wise, we help in a couple different ways. So first of all, we're trying to remove barriers. One thing an abusive partner will do is destroy identification. If you don't have a social security card, you don't have a driver's license, you don't have your birth certificate, it's really difficult to get a job.
yes.
And so that is something a lot of times abusers will take or destroy. And so one way is we help get those items. So we will pay for somebody to get a new driver's license, to get it. We've done birth certificates, from other states, for the client so that they have that. So we help with that. We may help with daycare. So if, they're out interviewing, getting a job, we'll pay for their daycare for a couple weeks. Yeah, to help with the kids. But then for the housing, it depends, that's grant funded money. So it can be very specific in the rules that you can apply that money. But we try to help with a security deposit and first month's rent. So that just helps get somebody on their feet, out on their own. Most of these clients start with nothing. So, to have that first month's rent, okay, now they can use their paycheck to maybe buy some furniture or, buy food to fill the fridge, anything.
Gotcha.
And it's so expensive these days too with the cost of rent right now. We're seeing a lot higher security deposits. We're seeing a lot higher application fees.
Yes.
And so we're able to offset that a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to get out on your own.
Yes. Well, that first month's rent's got to help a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they haven't had a job and they've now got a job, but they've got to wait the first month for that salary to come in. Now, also, you offer counseling services. That's one of the things you provide. Now, is this group counseling, individual counseling, and do you have special counseling for the children that are in your safe house?
Yes, so our counseling is primarily individual counseling, and we'll provide counseling for the victim as well as their children. And anybody can get those counseling services. So if somebody does not have to be living in our shelter to get counseling, I think we've seen a lot of times people who are staying in their shelter, they're worried about their basic needs. It's like, how am I going to eat? Can I get a roof over my head?
Yes.
Well, we see a lot of people who then get out on their own that they're like, okay, I now need to take care of this trauma that I have and this trauma response that I have. And so we see a lot of our victims actually come back, after they're out of the shelter and get our counseling services. And it's your typical one-on-one counseling. We have licensed therapists, and we also have one therapist who's Spanish speaking, so we can provide that bilingual option.
Now, does the same apply? I noticed on your website you also have domestic violence classes. Now, is that a group class that you have? And can people, they don't have to be staying at Safe House if they're in a domestic violence relationship, for want of a better word, can they still come and attend one of your classes?
So the domestic violence classes are actually for the abusers. So those are batterers treatment classes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so those are when somebody is court ordered to take classes. Then we also provide that because we're also into prevention. And so if we can somehow intervene with somebody who's been charged with domestic violence, hopefully they won't reoffend again. So it's actually like part of their probation, kind of, that they have to take this certain number of classes.
But if it's court ordered and this is for the abuser, I'm assuming that you can't hold them at your safe house location because that's undisclosed.
We have an office location.
So,
Yeah.
so your domestic violence classes, they're held set in a separate facility.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Makes sense.
It's at our office location, and we do see our victims at our office location, but we put the timing so that they're not crossing paths. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to touch briefly before we go into our next sponsorship break. Your advocacy services, you've got several, and I see you have a core advocacy and victim compensation. Is there a victim compensation program within the state, or?
Yeah, so that's through a federal law called the Victims of Crime Act. And so through the Victims of Crime Act, if you are a victim of a crime, which domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking are all crimes, then you may have some compensation available to you. And so our advocates help victims apply for the victims compensation through VOCA.
Sure. I would imagine some of them don't even know it exists, I would suspect.
Right. And so that's part of that process. So some victims, they need shelter. Some people don't need shelter. And so our victim advocates will see people in shelter as well as people in the community. Same with our counselors, people in shelter, people in the community. And so part of that process of learning how our advocates can help them is educating them on some of these programs that are available. And those advocates, they go to court with clients. They help clients get temporary protective orders, know where the paperwork is, how to fill out the paperwork, and just assist them with that legal system. It's also really nice because, a lot of our victims are going to court actively, divorce, custody hearings, and it can be really difficult for a victim to sit in that courtroom, and you have to face that abuser.
Yes.
And so our advocates, they're not lawyers, but they can sit in that room next to them and they know this person has my back and they're here for me. And then once, before the court hearing or after the court hearing, that advocate can also help explain what's going on, give them a heads up of what may happen, just to make them feel more comfortable in that environment. And then also help connect them with some legal services like Legal Aid of Southern Nevada, which is an amazing service here in Nevada.
Yes, we've had them on a program here before. On that note, we're going to take another sponsorship break. Please stay with us, folks. We're going to be right back.
Introducing Pacific Coast Capital, your partner in finance. We provide financing for your business. Speed, flexibility, and creativity are the foundation of our service. We'll help you navigate through change and opportunities. Our 90-plus years of experience ensures quick turnaround on loan decisions. Ride the wave to prosperity with us. Ready for new funding? Visit our website today at pacificcoastcap.com.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'd like to welcome back our guest today, Beth Glory, from the CEO of Safe House. And so I want to touch just a little bit. You also have community outreach. Would you like to talk a little bit about your community outreach?
Yes, so we have a community engagement manager, and her job is to go into the community. So she may do presentations. That could be to other nonprofits. That can be to businesses. There was one time we got called by, I believe it was Dillard's, because the manager, a number of his sales staff were experiencing domestic violence. So we had our outreach person come in and do a presentation. We'll also do like tabling events. So you see a health fair out in the community, then we'll have a table there so that we can try to reach clientele. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we are going into some of the local schools and we're providing education on healthy relationships. For younger kids, it's, more in the like how to have a good friendship to build that foundation. And then for teenagers, it's more related to the teen dating violence. So however we can educate the community, that's what we do with our outreach.
That's nice to have that outreach program. Now, you're also a resource center, and you've got several resources listed on your website, and I encourage anybody to go and visit their website to learn of all these resources. But one that was particularly interesting was the Vine program. Can we just take a quick little look at that video that we have?
Vine is the nation's leading victim notification network, a vital source empowering millions with timely, critical updates. Here for your safety, your awareness, and your peace of mind. It began in 1994 following the senseless death of Mary Byron in Louisville, Kentucky, after her assailant was released from incarceration without her or her family's knowledge. This tragedy underscored a critical gap in victim safety and a need for change. It was Mary Byron's legacy that sparked the creation of Victim Information and Notification Every Day, or VINE. Since its founding, VINE has been driven by one clear mission: to ensure victims, their families, and their advocates are always informed. VINE provides free, reliable, and timely information about offenders and criminal cases nationwide. Whether you need to know about an offender's custody status, upcoming court events, or protective order information, VINE delivers. You can choose to receive automated notifications via email, text, phone call, or simply check online anytime. Beyond the technology, VINE offers a crucial human connection. Our dedicated Customer First Center is available 24/7, providing trauma-informed support, answering questions, and guiding you through the system. VINE is more than a service. It's a lifeline, protecting communities, empowering victims, and providing essential information when you need it most. Select your state to search for an offender, register for notifications, or locate assistance through our service provider directory. VINE, your safety, your information. We're here for you.
That's an incredible video and provides a lot of information that a lot of people probably don't know about. Do you have any comments on that?
So the VINE program is very important. It essentially notifies a victim if their perpetrator changes custody. That gets very important if the individual is actually released from jail. So that way that victim knows if they need to be on high alert, if they need to, get more safety plans in place or protection. Now, I do want to note that this program is through the state of Nevada, and it has changed in names recently. So it is SAVE now, or SAVE. But if you look up S.A.V.E. and then Nevada, you can pull up, it's basically the same program.
Okay.
Yes.
But the video is still on your website until you change it. So if people are interested in it, they can still access your website and go to the resources page and it'll show up there. Now, what volunteer opportunities are there within the organization if people want to reach out and say, I'd like to help out with your organization?
We have so many volunteer opportunities available. We will actually tailor volunteer to the person's skills, right?
Oh, okay.
So, most people would think, oh, is it sorting donations? Yes, you can volunteer to do that. But we also have had maintenance people at our shelter. Like, we had a gentleman who did maintenance for years until he decided to retire out. He was already retired, but like final retire. And he did like handyman services. We've also had people help in our accounting and bookkeeping, at our front desk at our office. We've had people go to court with clients, as well as those I mentioned earlier, those health fairs. We always need people who will sit at those tables. So if somebody comes up and wants information, they can talk about Safe House. So we really have any volunteer job possible. It could help on fundraisers. I mean, so many different things somebody could do.
Their hearts are in the right place. That's all you ask.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
no qualifications. They don't have to have college degrees or anything like that.
Nope, and we provide the training. So because it is a unique population to work with, we provide a training. We ask for a small donation to help cover background check because we do work with children. So we always want to make sure that, we have safe individuals working with our clientele, and we get them hooked up with that training. We do it twice a year. So, and it's good for the resume too. So if somebody wants to get into this field, it actually looks really good on the resume to do our training, and then we give a certificate and everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And now, how do you get funded? Do you get government grants or?
Yeah, so we have a variety of funding sources. We do get government grants. So I mentioned earlier, Victims of Crime Act is one. We've had Violence Against Women Act before, Family Violence Prevention and Services Act. Those are big ones. And then we also get funding from the state, county. We get a small grant from the city of Henderson. And then the remainder is foundations that we work with in the area, as well as private donations. We need it all to help run this agency.
Well, it's a pretty extensive agency that you have there, and the 62 housing of people and the food and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
doing the financial assistance, yes, takes a lot of funding.
And we don't charge victims at all.
No.
So the only thing we charge for is those domestic violence classes for those who are offenders.
Yes.
Our victims of domestic violence, they don't pay for anything. So shelter, counseling, advocacy, it's all free of charge. So we really rely on our community support.
Okay. Now, you recently had, for the holiday season, you had an adopt a family program. Yeah. Do you have that every year? And could you elaborate on it? How successful was it been this year?
Successful this year is every other year. It's an amazing program. Our clients, both those living in our shelter as well as individuals that we are continuing to help in the community who may have financial distress, we get wish lists from them and we connect them with people in the community who want to adopt them, and they basically buy all of their gifts on the wish list, and they end up with some amazing holiday celebrations.
Nice.
And I have had the wonderful opportunity to witness the impact of that firsthand, really see the effect it has on our victims when they're handed all these gifts. I mean, I've seen so many tears, because they're like, I didn't think I'd be able to give my child anything this year, and now I'm giving them all these amazing toys and bicycles and, basketballs and dolls, and I mean, whatever you can imagine for all ages. We're able to provide. Yeah.
What a nice note on which to end our program. That's a very, very positive and uplifting note. Would you care to give out information on your website and your contact information, so that our viewers can go and check out your website and learn more about it?
Yeah, so you can find out more about Safe House at safehousenv.org. On there, you could see any upcoming events we have. In May, we have a pickleball tournament for all those who love to play pickleball as a fundraiser. And you can see any events we're doing. You can also go to the volunteer page on there if you're interested in volunteering. There's an application online. And then if you know somebody who's experiencing domestic violence, or maybe you want some advice on how to help a family or friend, you can call our 24-hour crisis hotline, which is 702-564-3227.
Thank you. And thank you, Beth, for taking the time out and being with us today. Really appreciate having you on and share what you're doing for our community and beyond. Definitely beyond.
Yes, thank you for highlighting nonprofits like mine. It's beautiful work that you do. So thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's very humbling, I might add. Suddenly realize how blessed we all are. So I'd also like to thank John Stars, our show's producer and station owner of WWDBTV. I'd also like to thank our sponsors who make this program possible. They're Pacific Coast Capital, Priority Wealth Partners, the Firelight Barn, and my late business partner, whose legacy lives on with this program. His name is Ralph Don Champion. You'll hear his message right at the end of this program. And I'd also like to thank the friends of the Gift of Giving. They're the anonymous donors that wish to remain that way, but also help keep this program on the air. And certainly I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. It's Stephen at thegiftofgiving.vegas. I'd certainly love to hear from you. And if you know of anyone who can benefit from Safe House, or who would like to donate, or who would like to volunteer, please reach out to them. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. And please share this interview with anyone you know. Hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Please stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye for now.
Mr. R.J. Champion is proud to sponsor WWDB-TV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.